Alrighty.
Hey, we're live. It is the DraftKings Over Under podcast. Dan Lifshed's Joe Murray here. We set a time for 6 o'clock. Let's just say somebody took a little snooze. So yeah, and all of a sudden I look at my phone and it's like, yo, and I'm like, whoa, Joe. So we're here. We are here. We took a week off with the Super Bowl. We're back. Let's get it going here. Feel free to chat in your questions. I got two right off the bat for tonight, Dan.
Yep.
It's square and it's in the Big Ten.
Oh boy, hit me.
So I guess first we'll go with Iowa again. You know me and Iowa on Thursday nights. But they're an underdog. They're at Wisconsin, which I can't believe, by the way. And I'm trying to figure it. So maybe you can help me with this one here. But they're an underdog tonight. I'm taking them outright. The Iowa Hawkeyes coming off a great win tonight. Let's ring that bell early on in the show. Give me Iowa.
Oh. Okay, yes, yeah, Iowa Monster, yeah. CJ Frederick, I believe, is out tonight, which is why I believe, were open at -1.5, dropped to 2 now, dropped to 2-point dogs at this point. Yeah, they will be without CJ Frederick, who had a injury setback, and he is going to be in and out of the lineup, but I believe they're going to be without him tonight. So that is the issue. Or at least that's what they said as of I don't know, few hours ago, that he was going to be out. Maybe they changed their mind. Maybe CJ Frederick is back in. Obviously, we'll see. But what I can tell you is that even if he is, he's obviously not 100%. There's some real issues there, obviously, with the setback, and that's a problem for Iowa, especially since he's probably their best shooter, if not one of their best players. It looks like apparently the things have changed. It looks like he might be a go. But there's other people saying that he's out, so we'll see. I'm just kind of going with whatever we got. All right. Okay. So, anyways, moving on. Joe, you like Iowa tonight, taking them in the spot on the road against Wisconsin. I'm going to start off with some plays as well. I was actually about to tweet these out on Twitter, but instead we'll do it here. Give me the Islanders and the Penguins over 5.5 tonight. Let's ring that bell. And then give me the over 1.5 in the first period. So I am double dipping on this game. I'm taking the over first period on the Islanders Penguins, and the over 5.5 in the full game as well. Double dipping there. In that little hockey game. There wasn't a ton I liked. I did like the Kings under tonight. The juice on the under got pretty heavy. I think I'm going to lay off because it's -130. But it's, but I mean, again, that was something else I liked, tonight as well, Joe. Anything else you like in anything else?
Oh, yeah. One thing I wanted to mention about the game you just picked, the over is 5-0 in the last 5 games. Between the last two, between Islanders and Penguins. So there's a good one tonight. Sticking with hockey, the Bruins have been off for a couple of days due to COVID. They are heavy favorites tonight. -220, 230 it opened up at. They're playing a Devils team that they should be able to take care of. Now that first half under, Dan, first period under, excuse me.
Yep.
It's still good for the year. I think it's 11 out of 14, something like that. So it's still there. I'm going to lay off tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to lay off tonight. Last night I got lucky. I hit that Celtics, whenever they trail at half, go against them at halftime. And I did it last night, but the line was 2.5, Dan. So they're onto it. Vegas is on to this. So there's some trends out there that you can make some dough. I'm going to lay off the hockey one, but I got it, and I'll just throw another pick out there and we can just talk about it. So I'm sticking in the Big Ten. This is my own fault. But give me Ohio State square -5 at Penn State. Now, I have talked about playing at Penn State on this podcast, right? I've mentioned teams that go to Penn State. I think Ohio State gets to the line more than anyone, and Penn State's one of the most defensive teams that foul. Saw that somewhere today. Plus, not to mention that Ohio State's on a roll, dude. So give me the Buckeyes, 8:00 tonight.
Surprisingly enough, I'm seeing a lot of love for Penn State in that 5.5 points, Joe. So we'll see. You got 53% of the bet on Penn State, so pretty even action on that 5.5, which is surprising, at least in my opinion. Look, is there? Mark asked to talk about Ohio State. We did just kind of talk about that game. Joe, is there anything else in college that you like tonight? Because I mean, there is a pretty good slate. The Houston-Wichita game, which starts in about 40 minutes, is really an underrated game, in my opinion. Houston's a really good team this year. Defensively, especially, they're incredibly impressive with the way that they play. They have been, wildly entertaining to watch, when they play defensively. Wichita is really good in the American. I mean, they're 12-4 overall. They're a good team, but they're really good in the American. They might not be an at-large bid good enough, but I mean, they're pretty good. Their 2 losses this year. Their 4 losses this year. 2 of them were to open the season versus Missouri and Oklahoma State. Since then, their only 2 losses were on the road against that Houston team that we're talking about right now. And they just had a clunker of the game on the road at Memphis, scored 52. Game was not competitive. Other than that, they have been dominant all season. Home versus Houston tonight. Spread right here. Houston -7.5 on the road. Now, Houston beat them by 7 at home. Do you like the Shockers in Wichita State tonight, Joe? I do think this is an interesting spot to be giving that many points away.
So let's just say this off the bat. I saw somebody on Twitter post Shockers +8 tonight, and I immediately went, "Oh, that looks like a lot of points for the Shockers." It does. It looks like too much. There's too much, but at the same time, have people watched Houston play basketball this year? They are like a grinded out defense that, you slip up once, they're gonna get you. And I saw the head-to-heads. Underdogs 5-1 against the spread. Road team 4-1 the last 5. Dan, 8 looks like a must play for Wichita. That's why I am staying away from that one. It's already 7.5 right now. I see live.
Yeah, I do. I actually am gonna, I guess, not be square here. I lean Houston in this one, or so I am gonna be square. I mean, I lean Houston in this one. I do think.
Yeah, but that line's too big. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm not against you on that. I think.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch that game. See what happens at halftime. These are 2 good teams. These are 2 good teams. I think the 8 number people are going to jump on. I think it's too high.
I mean, it's definitely a lot of points. I'm surprised that they're it's not 7 and it didn't open at 7. It opened at 8 instead. I figured if you reopen around the spread that you beat them at home, you'll get enough action there. The fact that they opened up 8 is a surprise. Does make me want to take Houston for sure tonight. I mean, I do think that Houston's played some good ball on the road, especially this year defensively. They had a real bad game at ECU a couple weeks ago. Didn't show up to defensively, just were not in sync whatsoever. ECU scores 82. They obviously win that game. Outside of that road, outside of that one real blown game, they've been dominant on the road this season. And I mean, I think, their other loss was earlier in the season to Tulsa, but they only gave up 65 in that game. They're not an offensive juggernaut. They're not going to put up, 85, 90 points a night, but they're a good team. I'm pretty impressed with what they've become. They're 6th in the country this year, Joe. I think this is a really good test to see where they are the remainder of the season on the road at Wichita. If they win this game and cover, because I do think that, against the spread does count for something in the eyes of the committee. I wonder if they're on their way to potentially to a number one seed if any of these teams falter down the stretch, Joe. So I think this is a really, really big game for Houston to potentially be looking for a number one seed if, Michigan or, a team like that kind of fails in the next few weeks.
Good point. Good point with that one. So it's actually a really good basketball slate tonight. I know some spreads are a little out of whack here, but once you dip into 9 o'clock, Gonzaga, St. Mary's. I remember this game early on this year, and I know people love St. Mary's, and Gonzaga smoked them. Here's another shot with Gonzaga at home. Now, I watched Gonzaga play Pacific a week ago. Something's not right with them. Maybe they just didn't care that night. I don't know. But they almost covered. They almost covered that game, and they were losing at half. Another game tonight, Big Ten, Michigan, Rutgers. Like, Michigan's giving 9 to Rutgers. Woo, there's another weird, misleading line. And then all of a sudden, Arizona, UCLA. There's a Pac-12 game for you. If you ever saw one, and I think the game really of the night. Oregon, Colorado. Like, is Oregon legit? Or is Colorado the better team out there like this? So I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to bring up those games here, but any thoughts on the Zags and the Gales?
Yeah, so let's dive into the Gonzaga game. I mean, obviously, Gonzaga is what? You think they're the best? I mean, they're the best team in the country outside of Baylor. It's been, back and forth between Gonzaga and Baylor. Obviously, we're not going to learn a ton about, Gonzaga and the WCC. It's just not a good enough conference, outside of, you get your occasional BYU game who is, I mean, BYU is a nice team, but they're not, they can't compete with Gonzaga. They're going to lose by double digits there. You're hoping that St. Mary's will be better this year. They're not. They got crushed in the first meeting on the road. The Gonzaga's coming off a big cover against the Dons last game. Joe put up 100 points. Defense played much better. It feels like they're starting to get back to it. The last 2 games with BYU and the game against the Dons, even the second half against Pacific was incredibly impressive. I would lean Gonzaga tonight to get the cover. Yes, it's square, but this team rolls. That's what they do. They win, they cover, and they move on to the next game. And so it would be hard for me to go against that team tonight. I know these are big spreads, big games. I just I can't do it. I can't fade the Zags in this position. In regards to the Michigan game, Joe, 9's a lot. 9's a lot for this team. Michigan.
It's a Big Ten game, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a lot. I know that they're home. It's, I believe, their first time playing Rutgers this season. I don't think they played them.
Well, they had a layoff with COVID.
Right.
They won the other night.
I don't think they played. I think they only scheduled Rutgers one time. I don't think that Rutgers was on their schedule early on. I remember talking about that because they faced Minnesota twice. They faced Whiskey twice. They faced Northwestern twice, but obviously the Northwestern game got postponed, but they didn't. They did not do that. Yeah. So this is it's a little bit tougher for me to diagnose. I usually like to get, some kind of idea of what we saw the first game. That being said, I think you're going to see the sharp action on Rutgers, especially if he gets back to 10, by tip off. I think, 9:00 game, you'll probably see some public money pouring in on Michigan pretty late. I think you'll see some sharp money back in, put in on Rutgers. I think double digits is a lot. And it does seem that, Michigan's been really, really good at home on covering these big, big spreads. Man, I feel square tonight. I feel like I have to go Michigan here, but this is one I certainly wouldn't touch just because of the fact that, they're coming off that big comeback win against Wisconsin. They were down big, came all the way back. This could very much be a letdown game for Michigan. Not saying they're going to lose outright, but absolutely don't think that this could absolutely be a game where they just don't, they don't have the energy. They don't have it coming off that massively emotional win, that comeback win against Wisconsin on the road too.
Yeah, I'm going to lay off that, but if it was me, I would take Michigan at 9. I don't trust Rutgers on the road. That's one thing off the bat. I've watched them play against ranked opponents in the Big Ten. They struggle, or just ranked opponents in general. They struggle.
By the way, Joe, we are going to get Michigan, Ohio State Sunday. That's going to be a fucking great game. Yeah. So they have not played yet. This is going to be the first meeting, number 3 versus number 4. Assuming Michigan doesn't lose tonight, I think this is going to be probably the best game of the season. I can't think. I mean, maybe Iowa Gonzaga was up there too, but to me, this is going to be one of the best games of the season coming up Sunday night. So I'm real excited for that game. But again, it's kind of that. We talk about sandwich spots in college football. It is kind of the same here. Coming off that win on the road versus Wisconsin in a big emotional win. This is a letdown game looking ahead to potentially Ohio State on Sunday. So to me, Michigan is unbackable as much as I would love to back them considering how they fared at home in the past few weeks against the Big Ten.
Well, as one of our listeners says, air fried wings and Michigan covers. I am going to cook chicken fingers.
Nice.
In the air fryer tonight. Curly fries and steak fries. They're all leftovers, so how about that? Chicken fingers and covers. How about that?
I'm going to pick up a steak and make some steak and steak tips tonight for dinner. Making a late dinner tonight.
Oh, I had steak tips last Thursday.
Oh yeah,
it was very good. I told you, air fried. It was very good.
I did not go the Joe Murray route. I am cast ironing those. Puppies.
Don't get me wrong, dude. I'd go. My grill's outside right now, ready. I'd crank that thing up. I'm too tired. Oh, by the way, we had technical issues earlier. I took a nap, but I have an excuse. I woke up early this morning and drove into the radio station, and then I've been training at a new position this week. And I set an alarm. You'll appreciate this. I set an alarm for where is it? I set an alarm for 6 o'clock. Look what time it was, though.
You set it for AM, didn't you?
6 a.m.
Yeah.
So there was the technical issues. I'm here. I'm ready, man. I already picked my games before. When Dave was like, we're going to do a podcast tonight. I already picked the games. So I hope I don't sound like I'm in slow mode. You ever heard those slow mode? Did you hear that slow mode?
You do sound a little tired, but we'll give you a pass.
I'm here, man. I'm here. My eyes. I'm here, bro. I'm ready when this thing's over, I'm air frying. I'm in my chair. I'm watching hoops, betting on games. We got NBA games we didn't even get to. We'll get to in a minute here, Dan. Let's just wrap up some hoops for tonight and then look at tomorrow. I love UCLA. And if we get the Conference of Champions and Bill Walton on the broadcast tonight, hook me up with a little bit of Bruins. -2. The thing is, I'm afraid of Arizona. Like, I can't bet them anymore. They're a team that I will fade for the rest of the year. But UCLA has struggled against the spread of late. But 9-0 at home. If I had a gun to my head, if this thing gets to 1, if we're talking home between Arizona and UCLA, even if it's 2 points, Dan, I will PP that bad boy of UCLA tonight.
It's at 1.5 right now, Joe.
Let's do it.
All right. There you go. So there's a nice
I got
little
three
PP.
PPs for you for that ass from me tonight, and they're all favorites. So be careful.
Yeah, I will say Arizona's last few road games have gone about as you expected. Put up 58 points on the road at Utah. Got absolutely cranked there. And then 79 on the road at Colorado. At least a better performance. Lost that game by 3, but better performance. Bounced back with a win at Oregon State. And then obviously that loss at home versus Oregon a couple days ago. So this is an interesting spot. Arizona on a 2-game road trip. They have UCLA tonight, USC Saturday. So doing that SoCal road trip. I'm going to stay away from that game in general. I do lean UCLA with you, Joe. I do. But there's something about the line. And again, UCLA coming off a 3-game road trip. It does feel like this is potentially, now USC is right down the road, so that's not exactly a road trip. But they were terrible in that game, 48 points against USC. Gross. Did bounce back with a 3-point win at Washington, but USC just has not played well the past 3 games. Even 4, they put up 57 versus Oregon State. They won that game, but lost on the road at a shorthanded Stanford team. Won on the road at Cal. I mean, really, you go back to that Stanford game, they haven't played super well in the past 5 games, 2-3 overall. I don't love them. I totally understand backing them at home. They've been fantastic at home this season. I just I can't get myself to do it. I'm gonna go back to the Lifschatz way, a little bit outside the box. It hasn't gone well for me this season. Just putting that out there. Last week was my worst week on the podcast, literally ever. I had my worst week on the podcast ever. So if you want to fade me, feel free. I do not. I'm especially not taking it personally right now. So I'm going to take Santa Clara -5 tonight against San Diego. I think it's a good spot. Santa Clara coming off a loss versus against Loyola. They hadn't played in a long time. Okay, it had been like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that since they had played. They lost to Loyola. Now they're facing San Diego at home. San Diego is not a great basketball team. They're not, and they finally got a game underneath them. They might be slow early, but I do think that they're going to cover the 6. And I think they'll probably win going away. I feel pretty good about this team. They're significantly better than San Diego. The layoff is kind of what's keeping that spread low, in my opinion. I think this spread should probably be about 9. So I'm laying Santa Clara again. Warning: I have sucked ass, and I mean really sucked ass last week. So let's hopefully I can get it going tonight. But if you fade me, I promise you I won't take it personally.
I mean, we're giving you picks. You can fade or follow. That's just the way I look at it. One more before we get into. I wanted to get into Colorado. And some games were good ones tonight that got postponed. Texas, Oklahoma would have been a good one. Baylor, West Virginia. Also Texas, Iowa. A lot of stuff was postponed tonight, which I wanted to throw out there. Just a few other games for those that care. Cal got a win over the weekend over Colorado. They play Washington State tonight. Washington State should win that game, but 2.5. Ooh, that line looks eerie, scary to me. And then
Washington State has been bad in the Pac-12, dude. Bad, like real bad. They've been a bad team since conference play opened.
But I think Cal stinks, and they beat Colorado. And now Colorado goes to Oregon. I bet this game earlier this year. I had Colorado at Oregon. They won 79-72. Now it's Oregon, a 2.5-point favorite at home. Colorado just lost to Cal. Like, Colorado plays good against good teams. They play bad against bad teams. They need to bounce back tonight. Duarte has been a hell of a player for Oregon of late. I don't know. I love Colorado. I think they're a damn good basketball team. Ooh, Oregon went a month between playing, dude. They literally went literally a month. But I think they're riding high right now. I think I'm going to lean Oregon. Dude, wow, the chalk tonight is scary.
Yeah, I mean it certainly feels like a very chalky night. This would be again. I think I would take Colorado here. I think I would. They're on the 3rd game of a 4-game road trip, coming off a bad loss versus Cal. They played very well versus Stanford a couple games ago, and let's not forget, Oregon is coming off. Oregon is coming off that big win, so. They on the road at Arizona. They had a back-to-back road trip, Arizona State, Arizona. It was a really, really, really good game, or a good couple games for Oregon. I just feel like this is a potential letdown spot. Spread is low. Colorado's a good team. Backing them is probably scary, and they're probably real high up in terms of the actual value, but. I'm sure Colorado's gonna be the public side, but it's hard. It's hard to come back Colorado or Oregon. Excuse me.
I was going to say they lost to Washington. Oregon lost to Washington.
Yeah,
oof. I think Colorado's the more consistent team here.
I do too.
It's a late night game. I think the Ducks have been playing better. 2.5 is probably the right spread. I'm not touching it. I'm off.
Okay. Any games tomorrow that you want to talk about before we head to the NBA slate? There's nothing fantastic, I would say. I'm just kind of scrolling through right now. There are a couple late night games. I think the late night games are much better. There's Boise State, Utah State. I think that's going to be a fucking great game. I really do. Boise State has really bounced back from. I felt they got out to a slow start this season. They've bounced back in a big way. Excuse me. I felt that Utah State got out to a slow start this season. If they've come back in a really big way, and despite the fact that they just lost at Boise this is going to be the second of the back-to-backs. I do think that this is going to be a really good game. Boise, on the other hand, started off fantastic. I think they lost their opening game at Houston. Has been, I think they didn't lose the game until Colorado State. They've now won 3 straight, but still comparatively how they're doing, they're struggling a little bit. I do wonder what it's going to be like for this Boise State team facing this Utah State team, which is a good team. Second in the Mountain West, Boise State first. This is a really big one, because if Utah State loses this game, Joe, they drop from the 2 seed to the 3 seed in the Mountain West tournament. And now you're looking at San Diego State. If they win tonight, potentially to the 4 seed, they'll be 11-4 in the conference. San Diego State will be 9-3. They go 10-3 percentage wise. They'll be better. So, this is a really, really big game tomorrow night for Utah State. Surprisingly, they need that fucking win. So I would not be shocked if they cover the spread right now, Joe. After Boise State beat them by 9, Boise State -1.5. I'm telling you, this is a huge game for Utah State tomorrow night. I would definitely lean that way. And there's also my favorite team, UNLV and San Jose State, 2 of the trashiest fucking teams in that Mountain West Conference. It's not great, but we do get the North Dakota South Dakota State in Fargo rivalry tomorrow night, Joe. So that's not terrible either.
Yeah, one thing on that Boise State game, underdog 6-2, road team though has dominated that series, and both teams are playing well. Boise 10-0 at home might be the way they go. These small spreads, I think sometimes you have to look at that. I'm just trying to think of what the other game. There was another game I was looking at for tomorrow night.
There are a couple lower conference that are pretty good, like Conference USA, Old Dominion, UAB.
St. Louis Dayton was another one.
Yep, St. Louis Dayton was another one.
I think St. Louis struggle. They're favored. They're 6.5 point favorites, but they struggle on the road, dude. And Dayton's been very good at home. So, keep your eyes on that one. I'm trying to see if there was I like the early, dude. I've been watching Iona a lot lately. Put up a ton of points. Like they lost to Quinnipiac, but they're an over machine, and it's 150 tomorrow. So I got my eyes on that one, and that's an early start.
Just to discuss that St. Louis game, Joe. St. Louis is one of their losses this year was to Dayton at home, so it is a bit of a revenge game. Dayton not playing great. 1-3 in their past 4 games. Losses at Duquesne, home versus VCU, and at URI. Again, URI is not exactly any world beaters this season. So Dayton not playing super well. I know they're home, but they did just get spanked by VCU at home. St. Louis on the road, they haven't been fantastic, but their 2 road losses have been at Minnesota. Minnesota's a tough place to play. Obviously, we've seen that. And at LaSalle, they were just bad that game. And everyone has a clunker, but they dominated Fordham. That was their only other road game this year. So I mean, they haven't been on the road a lot. We'll see what they're made of the next 2 games with Dayton and VCU. I do lean St. Louis. I think that they should probably cover that spread. So,
all right. Well, moving on to the NBA here. A good night of hoops. Oh, well, let me just give vent about something last night. The fucking Miami Heat. Dan says don't bet parlays, right? Don't bet parlays. Don't bet parlays. So I've been riding this Jazz streak like crazy. Took the Jazz, won outright, and both games were at 10 o'clock. And so I took the Jazz. I'm like, all right, and I'm like, ooh, Draymond Green's not playing for the Warriors. I go, Miami's not been so bad this year, but they should win this game. So I get Miami a +1, dude. +1. I bet it, and then I parlay it with Utah. So I have them solo, Dan, and in a parlay.
Yep.
I'm watching them. They are fucking They are destroying Golden State. Like, Golden State looked like the loss of Draymond ruined them. Steph Curry couldn't hit a shot. Fourth quarter comes around, Miami's up 15. I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. Because if you watch, the Jazz went on a 13-3 run in the third quarter and won by 15 points. So that sweat was over. Fucking NBA, motherfuckers, Miami Heat let Steph Curry shoot that damn basketball, and they went into overtime, and then Steph Curry hits back-to-back threes, and Kent Bazemore, of all people, playing well for them. So they won the game by fucking 8. Out. Blew my parlay. I'm pissed. So out on Miami Heat this year. Out. Which brings us to the Raptors and Bucks. The Bucks have lost 4 in a row. They stink. Was it 3 in a row? They lost 4 in a row. They stink. The Raptors are getting 7.5 tonight, Dan. The total's 235. All I can tell you is, in the last 7 meetings, the under is 6-1. And I lean Toronto tonight. Any injury report, anything we don't know, because this thing tips off within the hour. But the Bucks are heavily favored tonight against a team that I think deserves some respect in Toronto.
Yeah, Jrue Holiday is out tonight for the Bucks. He has the health and safety protocols. I believe that Kyle Lowry is gonna play. I haven't seen a status update on him yet.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
I'll check the action lines. Nope, I lied. He is out. He was ruled out tonight, and he is doubtful for the game tomorrow as well. So it seems that Lowry's injury is a little bit worse than we thought. So yeah, so Lowry is out tonight. Hey, listen, we talk about not betting parlays. You want a parlay piece? Milwaukee money line. I mean, this is a bounce back spot for them. They need a fucking win bad. This is the kind of spot that you kind of hope for 4 in a row from Milwaukee.
Yeah, 4 in a row. I'm all right. Yeah. And yeah. I watched that Suns game. They lost by 1 point. That was great. They got whooped by the Jazz, right? Typical fucking. But against the Thunder, dude. Ugh.
Yeah, it's the NBA any given night, and then the real bad loss. I mean, I think the loss at home to the Raptors is the worst one of all. Toronto's has not been a good team this year. They're not. They're under 500. I guess they're really not that much worse than the Celtics, to be honest. They're 13 and 15.
Yeah,
the Celtics are 14
and
14.
I was about to say that. I don't know. The Jazz are good, right? The Lakers are good. The Lakers are good. Oh, fucking Miami Heat. Fuck you guys tonight. I'm not touching you. But anyways, I'm sorry. That game, it pissed me off. That was a layup. Last night. But back to this Bucks game, though. All I can tell you is this. Toronto's playing better. But they're worse on the road. 9-3 is the Bucks at home. Oh, Dan, you know what's going to happen. TNT. It's going to be a 10-point game with 3 seconds left. Somebody on Toronto is going to chuck up a shot. That's what it's going to come down to.
I think it's going over tonight. That would be my lean in the game. The Brooklyn Lakers game, I'm actually going to watch. I think that's going to be.
Kyrie will play.
Yeah, it's a TNT game. It's the fall. It's the second game for TNT tonight. I'm definitely going to watch that game. This is what I think the NBA Finals is going to be. I know that's square as fuck.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Well, okay. Well, I think this is what the NBA Finals is going to be. I think it's going to be Nets Lakers. That's what I had at the beginning of the season. I'm staying consistent. I'm taking the Nets to win the East. I'm taking the Lakers to win the West. The Nets have been a poor road team, which is why I do think that it's going to start being important for them to start piling up some of these wins as they go. Now, the total in this one opened at 237. It's down to 229 and a half. Right? 229 and a half. People love the Nets right overs this season. It's been.
I see 230. It was 237 and a half.
Okay, yeah, 230. Right, yeah, okay. So I had a 229 and a half, 230, whatever. We're talking about half a point. You can probably find it, different books will have, a half a point difference. Either way, we call it 230. 7.5 points for it to drop is quite a bit. I do think there's some value, shockingly, in the over. I'm not going to play it just because a significant drop like that usually indicates something, right? There's some sort of piece of information. There's a massive syndicate or whatever that's moving the line, whatever. The public side is going to be the over. People are going to be on the over tonight. But I do think that 230 is low compared to what it's going to say. And if you watch the Jersey Shore instead of the NBA, man, I don't blame you. I get it. I like watching these good teams. I'm not going to watch the Raptors Bucks, but I am going to watch the Nets Lakers.
Well, Dan, it's Jersey.
It's Jersey. That's fun. I'm still watching LeBron versus the big three out there.
Yeah.
Brooklyn has played much better the past few games. Like I know everyone's giving them a hard time for how they played this season. Yes, defensively they're still allowing a lot of points, but they have played better. I mean, the winners of 4 straight. It seems like they're starting to figure something out. That Kings game wasn't great, but the Suns on the road, they're a tough team. Tough to play the Suns on the road. So this is, I believe, their final game of the road trip. Let's see what happens here. You still there? Did we lose Joe? Oh no, I think we lost Joe. All right, let's continue. Let's continue on to the rest of the slate here. We did talk about some NHL. Oh, there's Joe. You're on mute, Joe. You're on mute.
I'm here. I'm here.
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Real quick, I just wanted to mention Scott Foster is going to be on that Brooklyn game.
Yes.
Tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, Dan, talk about the last game. I gotta give me a minute. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think?
Okay. So Joe's going to go off and do his thing. I wanted to touch upon tonight something a little bit outside the box. We talked about some hockey. I gave you my plays for that. We did some college football, NBA. I wanted to talk about the Golden Globes. Now, this is not exactly a large market. It's not a market that people really, really get super deep into, but there is money to be made. And so it's kind of one of those markets that I like to touch upon every now and then. My guy, Joey Isaacs, if you follow me, you'll know Isaacs. He's all over this shit. I did a little bit of research myself. He put out some plays. He has, I believe, Promising Young Woman to win the Best Picture, which is drama. That was like 18-1. There was the win the Best Actress in the drama, which is Carey Mulligan plus 150. I am big on Carey Mulligan to win the Best Actress in the drama. I think anything above even money, honestly, should be a bet. I have a little bit sprinkled at 3-1 and 1.5-1. I think that Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman, will probably win Best Actress in the drama. Again, I think even money or better, you got to take a shot at that. And the other one that Isaacs talked about, it was Aaron Sorkin to win the Best Director for the Golden Globes. He did the Trial of Chicago 7. Sorkin has basically been praised in circles for everything he's done. Now, Chloe Zhao, who did Nomadland, is the big prohibitive favorite there. I think if you want to take a value shot, Sorkin is a good way to go about that with the director. Again, I don't want to just take his stuff. So, to me, my favorite thing is absolutely to go.
When is this, by the way? The Sunday night?
Golden Globes are in 10 days. So February
Okay.
28th. Yeah, February 28th. So Carey Mulligan, promising young woman to me to win Best Actress. Anything above even or above, I think is very, very, very good value. And then the other one I wanted to talk about was Best Supporting Actor in in a whole bunch of stuff. I think if you can get Sacha Baron Cohen in The Trial of Chicago 7, if you can get Sacha Baron Cohen at 2.5 or above to 1, I think you have to take a chance on that too. So those would be the two that I would really go in on. Would be Carey Mulligan and Sacha Baron Cohen in the to win Best Supporting Actor. So again, small market, not exactly a big thing that people talk about. Not something that's commonly commonplace in the betting markets. It's definitely a smaller market, but I think that both of those are real good bets. I think you'll at least split them at the very least. So there you go. But again, I have sucked ass lately. I'll repeat it again. Last week was my worst week on the podcast ever. So
on Saturday's show, I actually did well, Dan.
You did well.
But,
you did fine.
But I lost Drake at Loyola by 30. And then I lost. I took Michigan State against. I think I did those, or I mentioned them. I mentioned them on.
You did not. You did not take Drake on the podcast.
No, I put them on watch. Was what I did.
Gotcha.
I put them on watch and lost by 30, and I took Michigan State. Oh, I said Michigan State, Iowa. You're on watch. They lost by 30. So I just at least wanted to mention that, despite not actually picking them, they lost by 30 points. But Creighton did beat Villanova, which we were on. And then Usman under four rounds.
Yep.
That was a big one as well. So that helped out. So listen, it balances itself out. You know what I mean? Like I think I went like 3-1 for whatever. You had a couple of.
I went 1-5.
I'll say this though,
it was not good.
We have definitely been better in 2021 than I would say 2020.
Yeah, we struggled for
Michigan State lost by 30. Dude. That's what I'm saying here. I don't know
why we struggled in 2020, and we'll start giving out more picks too. I know that we've slacked, especially myself, has slacked in that.
Yeah,
I was off Twitter for a few days.
So. I've had a 3-0 week, but I'm picking spots, and again, the spots, and I'm going to see if there's anything else you want to get into, Dan, because it's almost game times. But the things I'm staring at are. The Utah Jazz, it's easy, but it's going to fade at some point. The Celtics, if they're down at halftime, you have to go against the Celtics. I'm trying to think of what else I've been betting on.
I wanted to get your opinion on the Celtics tomorrow night because it's a back-to-back home game against Atlanta. Obviously, Celtics come off that big win against Denver the other night, have some momentum, and then lay a fucking clunker against Atlanta. No Kemba tomorrow night either. He's not playing. Obviously, no Marcus Smart. We're a Boston.
There's no back-to-back though. Kemba's not going to play.
I don't believe that Kemba is playing. I believe that is what I that is what I heard. So I
actually thought the Celtics. The problem in last night's game was there wasn't enough defense, but I know the Celtics aren't playing well. I'm not the fan.
I like Kemba is playing. That is correct. Okay. Kemba is playing. I'm sorry.
All right, cool. All I'm saying is last night, nobody gave the Hawks any credit. Trey was he was a difference in the game. There was nobody like him in that game. The other thing too is they shoot like 70% last night. So I'm not. The Celtics have been bad. They're not playing defense. They're not knocking down shots. Like they're not passing the basketball. That's what I think. But Dan, it's funny. I want to put some blame on the players. Is it fair to say that maybe Tatum and Brown don't make players better? And I'm only bringing this up because Dwayne Wade mentioned this 2 weeks ago on a TNT broadcast. He goes, the next thing for the both of them is to make guys better. And I wonder if he's like, oh yeah, they're good, but they're not a threat because they don't make anybody better. I feel like that's the thing with them. And I know it's but the Hawks, the last 4 times, is this game in Boston? Right?
Yes, in Boston. Yeah.
Yep. They're 4-0 against Boston in Boston the last 4. The overs hit the last 14 meetings. There's another thing in there. I personally think the Celtics, after Danny Ainge comes out, he defends the coach. 4.5's a lot, but I think they should win this game. My thing is they're going to fucking have to play defense. Like, I'm talking like lace up your boots, smack the floor. You're going to have to play defense, and I think Trae Young is tough to defend. So, like, who's going to defend his ass when he wants to run and shoot wherever the hell he wants?
Unfortunately, they don't really have anyone without Marcus Smart who's going to defend. I mean, it's going to be Kemba, which scares me even more than Peyton Pritchard, the way that Kemba's looked on the defensive end, as the last few games. It's fine seeing Kemba get back into this offensive form, and I think that that's badly needed, but it's the defensive end, the movement that scares me more than anything when it comes to him. I gotta say, I do think the Celtics will bounce back. Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens listened to both of them today on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I thought Ainge was critical of the team. I thought he wasn't too critical, but he was critical of the team. And I thought he did a good job saying that they're not a championship contender. They're not. They're more of a 500 team than they are a championship contender. Now, are they better than a 500 team? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
They should be, 16-13 or, something, whatever. They should be something like that. They should be a couple games above 500. But no, they're not a championship contender. And I don't think there is a move out there that makes them a championship contender this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll say this. Right, if you look at the rest of the league, like they're 4 games out of like first place there. I get it, right? Like, nobody cares about the regular season. For us though, it's more of a we invest in this team. We want to watch you to be entertaining, but you're not entertaining right now. And there's been a lot of asset mismanagement going on, I think, and
Ainge hasn't been good. Let's just call it. Ainge has not been a good GM.
You know what? And my only listen, I don't think Ainge should get fired. I don't think Stevens should be. I don't think Stevens should be fired either.
No, the people who want Brad Stevens fired, it's fucking ridiculous.
And I'm just meant. This is Joe Murray's own opinion. But the one thing I always liked about Brad Stevens was he could get the most out of guys, and I think right now he's not. And I don't know if that's the way they're playing basketball. I don't know if there's a direction from ownership. Hey, let's get Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to be, 25 points per game guys in a duo. Like, that could be happening from above, dude. It could be. I don't know. I have my concerns about those two being the guys in the end to win a championship together.
I think it's a little too early. I mean, they're really young. Outside of Dwayne Wade, and we actually talked about this last year, there has not been a single player that's 23 or younger that has led a team to an NBA championship. And I get people fought back on the Wade thing. He had Shaq. It was different.
How old was Steph?
Curry was like 26 by the time
he played 4 years in college.
Yeah, yes. Has Jaylen Brown been in the league 4 years? Yes. Has Jason Tatum been in the league 3 years? Yes. Are they the same amount of playing time? Yes, but they're also at a different maturity, different age. I think it's a little bit different. Also, Steph Curry had Klay Thompson and Draymond Green when Draymond Green was playing like a superstar. The Celtics don't have that third guy. Marcus Smart is not that fucking player. He's just not. Kemba Walker is now playing at an all-star level or anything close to it right now. He's just not. So, I mean, it's gonna be an issue for a year or so. They need to find a third guy, hopefully a veteran guy, maybe not a younger guy, more of a veteran guy. I think to take their lead. If you get a younger guy, I mean, no one's gonna complain. I think that's kind of where they're lacking. But they will be fine. I'm not calling for Danny Ainge's head or Brad Stevens, and no one should. Ainge has done a good job with his team, but he needs to do a better job of assessing NBA talent. I mean, again, say what you want about the Miles Turner situation. Tell me that he wasn't ready to sign. Everyone who is fucking informed, Gasper, people from Indiana, Zach Lowe talked about on his podcast. Everyone said Hayward was ready to sign there. He didn't sign because Ainge was holding up the trade. And he never thought he didn't think that it was going to be a possibility. And if he didn't jump at the Charlotte offer, who knows what might have happened to Hayward. He might have ended up taking a 1-year prove-it deal. It's COVID offseason. Who the fuck knows? None of these guys wanted to go through that, so we took the best option that had available because he wasn't getting traded there. But Ainge just has not been a good talent evaluator in terms of NBA talent the past few years. Drafting, he's been much better. Peyton Pritchard looks good. Aaron Nesmith finally looks like he can play a little bit. But just in terms of the NBA talent, Jeff Teague looks like a disaster. Tristan Thompson, he's been getting better, but still nowhere near the guy you were hoping to get. It's just
it's funny with him.
He's been a disaster.
It's funny with him is that talking to Jones about this today, but it looks like he's like now in shape. You know what I mean? Like he needed like these games to get in shape. But yeah, long story short, the Celtics aren't the value in the Celtics right now is fading them when they trail games and I just Dan, all I want is an exciting team. Like the Nets are exciting to me. Yep. We're gonna watch Lakers Nets tonight. Like they're an exciting time. I don't know. I want to know if they're gonna be the team we think they are or not. You know?
Yep. No, I totally agree with that.
And like even like the late night game, like Sacramento is exciting, and I think they suck. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they suck.
It was
an 11-3 lead, by the way.
It was more fun when the Celtics didn't have crazy expectations and they were outperforming them. Now it's gone the other way. But anyways, just wanted to answer a few questions here talking about that. We had a question about Montana +9 tonight versus Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington has won 7 straight. They're playing their best basketball of the season. If you want to fade Eastern Washington, do so at your own peril. But this is where Eastern Washington is absolutely fucking rolling. Montana has been fine, but Eastern Washington has been just dominant. They've won every single game in the past 5 games by double digits. In prior to that, they won by 8, and prior to that, they won by 6. So they've been getting better and better and better as the season's gone on. They dominated Montana State, who's a much better team than Montana, twice in a row on the road. I'm not backing Montana. Nope. And I know that maybe the next game on the road, you might be able to take Montana when Montana's home. But I absolutely am not. No way am I backing Montana tonight. Nope. No shot.
That's another thing to consider. Maybe we should talk about that on the Saturday show. But these teams that we're known, like Eastern Washington's known as a team that gets hot late in the year and goes on a big run in their conference. Murray State's one of those teams. Jacksonville was one of those, Jackson State or whatever. Like these teams, Ryder, right? Like a lot of these schools, they go on runs. Valpo, right? Wright State. Just thinking of all these schools, they go on these runs in March. I'm interested to see how they're going to play this year. The Atlantic 10 just moved up its tournament for this year. I just saw as well, but I'm knee deep right now in college basketball. Now that football's over, I'm still looking at some. NBA. NBA has been interesting to watch. They still have the casual fan, and they're going to play that damn All-Star game, which
it's gonna suck. I'm not gonna watch. So,
and that's the thing is that's the only way we can tune it out is not to watch, but. The skills competition will be in the pregame. The slam dunk will be at halftime. And it's just, I think they're going to make it well. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a hit. But, you were on with us this morning. I said, if Jaylen Brown makes that All-Star game, he's going to play. And Danny Ainge just said, I'm going to give my input. But you know what's going to happen. He's going to play. That's what these guys do. But whatever, moving on.
All right. You're good? I'm all set. That's that was my agenda for tonight has been met.
And we did a little bit of hockey. We did a little bit of NBA, a little college basketball as well. And we're on Saturday. There's a big weekend of games this Saturday. So I apologize for the technical issues, everybody. But we made it. We did it. We gave out our picks. And hopefully we entertain the masses tonight. So I'm going to be wide awake for the rest of these games tonight, and it should be a good one. So, all right, Dan, let's enjoy it. Good luck to you tonight. This has been another edition of the Over Under podcast.
Who you got? Have a good one. Good luck, fellas.
I'll send this to you, Dan.
Sound good.
Thank you.